We are so excited for today. I am Joyce Hardy. I am a professor of natural sciences here at Chadron State College. I think that I was selected or volunteered to do this because I have over 40 years of memory in this 50-year-old building. First starting as Scholastic Day participants, and then as a student, undergraduate student, then as a master's degree student, coming back to teach. As I said, we are so excited to start this kickoff for the renovation expansion of our new Center for Innovative Learning for Sciences and Mathematics. I think understanding our past is sometimes key to understand where we are now and what our dreams are for the future. So I want to take just a brief minute to talk about the history. The Chadron State College Mathematics and Sciences programs have had a long tradition of excellence. The Sciences and Mathematics faculty originally taught in old administration building. It was called administration building, although that was a very small part of what that building was. The chemistry labs were on the upper floor, so when the explosions occurred, it didn't interrupt anybody above them. And from 1911 forward, these programs provided exemplary learning experiences for our students. The faculty were engaged in teaching content, in professional character building, and in mentoring. Reading the alumni accomplishments from these early eras is really humbling. The faculty provided the support, encouragement, professional development, and mentoring, coupled with top-class learning environments that facilitated the students' success, not only in the K-12 teaching, but in traditional fields of science and mathematics. One example, but only one, is Dr. Val Fitch. He spent 1 year here prior to his military service. Exiting his military service, he went to Princeton University. He was here 30 years ago. And he talked about the value of his education here in positioning him for success at Princeton and in his continued endeavors. The inquiry-based critical thinking focused learning environment he gained here was critical, he said, as he moved forward. He's only one example. If you go see Karen Pope over in the foundation office and start reading through the accomplishments of many of our older alums, and I'm using that even from my perspective, it's humbling. In the late 1960s, this building was added to the campus community, substantially increasing the laboratory and research spaces. For those of you who've studied that history or lived in that era, you know that it was a time of significant impact and significant encouragement for sciences and mathematics learning. There were national directed initiatives, and the regional demand was very high. Dr. Edwin C. Nelson, president, and Dr. Jack Swanson, the vice president of administration, oversaw the design and construction of this building. Jack had his degree in physical chemistry, his master's degree. Crick and Watson discovered the structure of DNA, and he switched to biochemistry for his PhD work. It was an exciting era. Dr. Swanson later came back to teaching chemistry, ending his career at Chadron State College by being a faculty member and mentoring students, which he excelled at. He also mentored me as a new faculty member. So 1960s, the new era, included many more outstanding people. Walking these halls, I hear conversations with Jay Drucker and Jim Kaz, Jim McCafferty and Larry Agenbrod, Frank Ferguson, Gerald Steffi, Marley Smith, Art Strumpler, Monty Fickle, Ron Whedon, Keith Olson, Jim Gibson, Randy Lawson, and many more. These faculty continued the tradition of offering opportunity, professionalism, and mentoring. In a time when significant gender and race inequities existed, this building and this campus were warm, welcoming, supportive, and inclusive. Proactively inclusive. Yet these faculty were not easy students. They pushed us to excel at levels that we were not aware we were capable of. They fostered collaborations across the discipline. They forced us to address biases and thought processes that were holding us back from reaching our potentials. They mentored us in becoming professionals, capable of holding our own against graduates from any institution, and they did it well. Now, as we look toward our future, we know technology has substantially increased. Some of the equipment is much smaller, but more equipment's needed. That yields the need for more space and more infrastructure. Content knowledge is still critical, but it's no longer difficult to access. Knowing how to judge the validity of information, how to integrate that information into a functional knowledge base, and how to apply the information in our complex and ever-shifting world is the key to being educated. Although this building remodel has been discussed for at least 3 campus master plans that I've been involved in, Ed Hoffman is telling me yes. Today is a culminating effort of many people working collaboratively. The state of Nebraska, including our governor and our legislative constituents, have been critical in this endeavor. Our system and campus leadership, Dr. Paul Turman, Chancellor of the Nebraska State College system, Dr. Randy Rhine, President of Chadron State College, and Carrie Gaswick, who is the Vice President of Administration, have been instrumental. Friends and alums of Chadron State College through the Chadron State College Foundation and Ben Watson, who is our Chief Executive Officer for the Foundation, have made this a reality. For each of you and the many more that I could not address in the time period that we've got, thank you very much. We have several speakers today, and rather than me coming back to the podium between you, I'll have you introduce the next speaker. Dr. Paul Turman, the Chancellor of the Nebraska State College system, is here. Gary Bieganski, the Chair of our Board of Trustees. Patrick Friesen, the Chadron State Foundation Chair, and Marjean Terrell, the Chair Alumnus and current member of the Board of Trustees, are here. And Dr. Randy Rhine, Chadron State President. Following Dr. Rhine's comments, he will lead us into the formal official groundbreaking. And then I will come back to the podium and describe the celebration activities that the constituents of the building have designed for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce, and good morning, everyone. I had the opportunity, after being hired into this position in October of 2018, to travel to Chadron, and one of the first buildings that President Rhine took me through was the math science. The history of this particular project, as Joyce had noted, goes back 30 years, but had been identified as a priority for the board in 2014. Funding, structures, and opportunities didn't present themselves until about 2019, when it surfaced as a priority for the governor, where he reallocated particular bond projects that we have underway right now to be able to be utilized toward this project. The unfortunate thing was that that commitment was about a 10-year allocation of about $2.2 million toward this project that was only really going to get us about 2/3 of the project that we have in place right now. So during the legislative session, both working with the governor and the legislature, we were successful at convincing them that a different alternative was something that would be worthwhile for us to undertake. If we were able to work together and create this kind of public-private partnership, we could go early rather than waiting till next year to even begin the planning process. If the commitment from the foundation, people like Ben Watson and his team, President Rhine, their ability with their fiscal management of this campus. If we could invest our dollars up front and then utilize the state funds after that, once the bond project we're paying down now could come into reality, then we have the capacity to go earlier. So I noted this project was a priority in 2014. Every year we delayed, it increased the cost to about an additional $1 million. And so timing is important. So every year that we couldn't move forward means that another piece of what we wanted with this project could not be fulfilled. And so as we worked with the Appropriations Committee, with the governor, the legislature as a whole, they bought into this alternative scenario of giving us a 15-year bonding versus a 10-year bonding to get us to the larger $30 to $32 million project. I would also say that had we not been successful at doing that, the market is at a place right now where it really has never been in the bond market. We were able to get about an additional $2 million than we projected in 2019 when we were able to go out to market here in April. And so all of those things coming together at the right time has allowed us to be very successful in accomplishing what we're hoping to see with this building here in about 15 to 18 months. When we were talking with the legislature, one of the things, bring people out here to tour it, the governor, a number of people on the Appropriations Committee, they clearly see the need and the value of making an investment in this facility. But they also wanted us to be able to articulate what is the return on investment that we anticipate that we're going to be able to see. And we work with President Rhine and his team to articulate 4 particular areas that I think we're going to start to see for the next 50 years of what this building will be able to contribute to this community, to the region, and also to the campus. And being first, that our enrollment in STEM, we know, is going to continue to increase as a result of having a state-of-the-art facility. When we look at rangeland science, a building that was put up 5 to 6 years ago, in just a very short period of time, saw about a 27% increase in the number of students that enrolled in that program. If you compound that into the STEM fields that we serve through a facility like this, we anticipate in that same time frame that we're going to be able to grow our number by about 100 additional students. So student enrollment is one of those return on investments that the state gets. The second one is our ability to be able to educate students in a more student-centered learning environment than what was envisioned in the 1960s, 1970s when these types of facilities were put in place. So as you go to high schools around the Panhandle, I think you would see that many of their facilities mirror the state-of-the-art types of designs that are going to now be in place with the new math science project. We also know that this has a significant community outreach for the region and for the Panhandle and the local community. The number of students from local high schools, middle school, high school students that come and the things they're able to learn certainly are reinforced by having an upgraded facility. I would say lastly, it's very important for us to be able to recruit students, but it's also extremely important for us to make sure that we're continuing to have the facilities that we need to recruit the faculty of the future that we'll need here at Chadron as well. So I was fortunate to be at the reception last night to congratulate Dr. Wentworth, 16 years of math education, leaving this facility. The next generation of Dr. Wentworths we want to be able to attract, and you need facilities to be able to do that. I'm not saying that I want the current faculty to go anywhere anytime soon, but when it's your time, we know that we've got a state-of-the-art facility. The replacements that you have, the legacy that you have, will also be replaced as a result of that. I'll be remiss if I don't at least thank 2 people on my staff. Steve Hodovy in the back here is our Vice Chancellor for Facilities and Information Technology. Much of the work that needs to happen, working with the legislature, working with the campuses, facilitating the bonding process, the design process, none of those things could happen without the day-to-day engagement that he has to facilitate. He's glad that the track project is finally done so that we can give him another project and task over the next 20-some months to see where we'll be here to do the ground or the ribbon cutting about a year and a half from now. Carolyn Murphy also is my Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration. All the work that goes into convincing legislators, giving them scenarios, those are important things and an important piece of a team to bring all these things to reality. President Rhine will certainly have his long list. I will contend, I came from academic affairs before coming into this position, and if I'd have known now on how much work it was going to be to just go through the bonding process, I don't know that we'd ever build another building again in the system. Disclosure agreements, bonding calls, testing the market, a significant amount of undertaking, but I think we'll all recognize that we will see significant value from all that work from everybody that's been involved. So I certainly appreciate the opportunity to visit with you this morning, be a part of the groundbreaking, and hope that we have many more types of facilities during my time in this position. So please join me in welcoming Gary Bieganski, our chair of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you. What an exciting day for Chadron State College as we prepare to break ground for the math science renovation, and this is actually one of the largest private-public investments ever. The original structure was completed in 1968. Although upgrades and replacements have occurred in the building, a major comprehensive renovation of the building has never occurred until now. And as you stop and think about it, this building is 52 years old. And so we've done a fabulous job of keeping those labs and things going, but there's only so much you can do with the facility that's old. So this is really exciting to be able to change it. When they talk about three different strategic plans or master plans for the facility, I've been on the board 14 years, and we have worked diligently all of that time, working on our priorities, not just for Chadron, but for all of the state colleges. So this is really great to see this building actually come to fruition and the remodeling that we're going to do. The new renovation will include a two-story addition to the north, which will come right out this way. We're going to lose a tree or two, and we wish we wouldn't, but we are going to be able to preserve most everything that we have over here with the Strumpler Plaza. So that was part of the work that was ongoing. We will have new lecture halls, state-of-the-art labs, and study spaces. And I think as we all worked through this, we were really pleased with some ideas that came about as we began to look at what the needs of the students were with a particular building like this, because we really had a focus and an emphasis to make this a building that will become the center for many of our students to live and work, well, not live in, but be in, and do a lot of their studying. We have a lot of space built in that will be just particularly unique for groups of students to work together collectively. As we have observed, a lot of things are changing in education, and we see more and more participation of groups working together on projects. This space and the remodeling that we're going to be doing will accommodate that. And I learned about a lot of that working with a committee that was put together to work on the actual planning. And we had faculty, administration, staff, architects, the contractor, many people involved in that. So we were able to take a very comprehensive look at what we need to address our needs now and well into the future. So this building is a testament to the commitment and the strengths of Chadron State College Foundation also, and to the donors that have stepped forward and been very instrumental in their contributions, because we really needed the help with the foundation to also demonstrate to the legislature and everyone else that we were putting our money in it also. And so great thanks to all of them who participated. I would also like to thank the state of Nebraska citizens for their confidence and investment and support of the state college system and our young people. The future of our graduates of this and the future graduate of our states. Joining our vision in creating such a statewide facility will serve this facility and this area for a long time to come. Thank thank you especially to the faculty as we worked through this project. We were at first looking at maybe doing it in some stages and not abandoning the old building, and they stepped forward and helped us trim at least 6 months to a year off of that time schedule, which saved us money, which enabled us then to move forward and take everything out of this building so that the contractors and the people who would be working would have the whole facility as well as the new one to work on and complete at one time. That was a great savings and a great commitment, because if you think about living in your house for 52 years, and then all of a sudden you have to move so that changes could be made, even if you only lived there for a few years. My goodness, there's a lot of stuff that you didn't know that you had that needed to be relocated and moved. So we really upended their working environment, and we really appreciate moving here and there on the campus and using different buildings and different facilities and a little different labs than what we'd really like to have. But the new ones are going to be absolutely great. So thank you to all of you for coming today, and thank you all faculty and staff for your involvement and working in this facility. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Marjean, who is a part of this building also. Marjean, Terrell, thank you.
Today I was asked to speak as behalf of somebody who lived in this building way back when. Dr. Hardy and I have had the same kind of background of being a part of this building. I came here 45 years ago, so you guys can do the math to figure out. And I was in the health professions, and unlike everybody who was in the health professions, math and science, you did live in this building. You were taking anatomy and physiology, physics, organic chem, with the labs that go with it. And as Dr. Hardy referred to, the faculty made you work. You know, they put us to the test. And as she mentioned too, they forced us to be better than we knew we could do. And they said, you know, if you're going down to those professional programs for like in the health professions of medical school, physical therapy, the different disciplines, you guys are going to have to really work so you can compete with those bigger schools that are going to be sending their students. And Chadron State students have consistently shined when they've gone into those professional programs. And it's because of the nurturing that faculty did for us then and continue to do for the students today. In the 90s, I had the opportunity to come back as adjunct faculty here at Chadron State for a little while, and I got to work with my former professors. And again, as Dr. Hardy referred to, as a female and coming back, and they really were inclusive. They were so supportive and nurturing. It was a wonderful experience. 9 years ago, I got the opportunity to join the Chadron State Foundation Board. And this project was always on the horizon. And because I love this building, I was, is this ever going to happen? And so it's exciting to see that it was meant to be, of all the different times when things were trying to go forward, it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. And, you know, the stars aligned. This is going to be an awesome, awesome building. In the spring of 19, we did the groundbreaking for the track and field, and I served as chairs that year. And as I stood at the podium that day, I saw some of those donors sitting out there with the biggest grins on their faces because that track and field was finally going to be started. And I told them later that I said, you guys all look like you just had a birth in the family. What was your own child or grandchild? Because they were so excited to see that finally go after they had dreamed about it and nurtured, and it was happening. And yesterday when we did the dedication, they were the same way. They were still, about that. But I know behind the mask out here today, there are a lot of big grins of knowing that this thing is finally going to be going forward. And the faculty that Dr. Hardy mentioned, I can't help but think about how excited they are looking down and seeing that this thing is finally happening, because they put up for a lot of years with not much happening for them. And when I was thinking about the birth of, and this rebirth of this building, this is a bit like a pregnancy. There's planning going on, and then there's things happening that you really don't know, and then finally there's going to be the outward signs. For example, when that north wing is built, people be able to drive by and go, really, this is really going to be happening. And so we look forward to the beginning of this rebirth, and it's going to be fun. We'll have to wait 18 months, not 9, but we'll get there. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about, I've had a unique time in my serving on the Chadron State Foundation and finishing up that and beginning my time on the Board of Trustees, that I've got to see a lot of behind the curtains of planning of all this. And it is overwhelming. I don't think people understand how much time and effort it takes on a lot of people's time schedules to make these things happen, planning and doing all of that. I'm thankful that the governor and the legislature, in tough times decided to go ahead yet with this project. They realized how important it was. I'm appreciative to Dr. Turman and my fellow Board of Trustee members who worked diligently to make sure that this project, and they always saw the need. Like I said, it was going forward with it. Dr. Rhine and his staff, all right, you finally get the money appropriated, and it's not like then you make those decisions, but okay, we have this much money, what can we do, what can't we do, and going back and forth. So there was a lot of decisions to be made like that. And the math and science faculty, when I was a student, when I was here in the 90s, and how it continues now, they are the most outstanding people on the face of the earth, because they care so much about these students that they wanted this and to abandon the building, but yet with the attitude of, we're not going to compromise during those 18 months we're out of a building with these students' education. It's going to be at the same level. We're not going to stop doing what we're doing. And even though it's, think about, it's not too hard in the day of COVID to think about people being displaced and trying to keep things as normal as they can. And that's what this faculty has decided to keep going forward. So again, I thank everybody for being here today to this outstanding time, and it's going to be so much fun in 18 months when we get to do the next steps. So thank you. And I'd like to introduce Pat Friesen, the current president of the foundation.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I only had one class in this building when I was here, so I don't have the stories that a lot of people do here. But I have a lot of friends that took classes here, and in hearing Marjean's stories that she's told me numerous times, and hearing my friends' stories and the time they spent in here, and the amount of pride that they have of learning from the professors in this building, it brings me joy to know what the foundation has done in order to help make this come to fruition. So I just want to thank the donors, and in 2014 I started on the board just shortly after Marjean did, about 8 years ago, and this project was the marquee project that they had talked about. And as a lot of other projects have come and gone and been completed in this time frame, and it got to a point where it felt like it may never get taken care of. 2014, the next Horizons campaign was started with the goal from the foundation of raising $2 million through hard work through Ben and generous donors. The project is finally taking place, and we're really excited. The foundation will have an announcement here in the next couple weeks in order to kind of clarify what we're bringing to it. But we're really excited that this is finally taking place, and excited for the next generation to utilize this brand new building. So with that, I'll give it to Dr. Rhine.
Well, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. So I am very proud to be able to stand here this morning and have this conversation with you. Thank you all for being here. It's a great day for Chadron State College, the Panhandle, and the state of Nebraska. What a moment. When I think of all the students who have come through this building, the academic programs housed here, and the incredible work they have gone on to contribute to this community, the region, the state of Nebraska, and the world, it is awe-inspiring. The Math Science Center for Innovative Learning will keep the flow of these individuals and their talents into the world, and they will make our lives better. As we worked on this project, I had the opportunity to travel around this great region and country talking to our alums about this project. Their stories are amazing and their generosity unbelievable and humbling. Their love and appreciation for Chadron State College is apparent in the fact that today we will break ground on a facility that would not be happening if it were not for that generosity. I also want to thank the Board of Trustees of the Nebraska State College System and Chancellor Turman for their leadership and support of this project that is so important to the future of Chadron State College. I also want to recognize and thank Governor Ricketts and the Nebraska Unicameral for their support of this project. Early in the planning process, Governor Ricketts made a special trip to Chadron and spent a couple of hours of his valuable time examining the existing building, discussing our needs, and reviewing our plans. Thank you, Governor. Even though you're not here today, we thank you. And thank you to the members of the Nebraska State Legislature for helping to make this project a reality. The Chadron State Foundation has been instrumental in helping to raise the private support that we needed to embark on this project. The impact of Ben Watson on private development for this project cannot be overstated. Ben, you've done a fantastic job. Thank you. Projects like this require an extraordinary amount of planning, review, negotiating, and more planning. The team that's helped us develop this project has done an amazing job of gathering the input from campus, listening to our needs, and producing a design that will serve us for decades. It started with Barr, Vermeer, and Hacker Architects. So thank you to Dan Worth and Ed Hoffman, who I think are with us this morning, for all your work on this project and leading us through the planning phases that we needed to accomplish. Our partner in construction, Adolphson Peterson, with Tom Stone and Brian Clark, are here. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. They bring with them Clark Anderson and Olson and Associates, who worked on the design of our labs and the mechanicals and electrical systems that we need to make this building work the way that it needs to work. It just takes a tremendous amount of planning and design and effort to make these things come together. And last, and certainly not least, I would like to single out Steve Hodevy, who's been mentioned prior, but he's our Vice Chancellor of Facility Services and Information Technology for the Nebraska State College System Office, who has guided this project and led us to this historic moment. So thank you, Steve. We couldn't have done it without you. The support we have received from alums and supporters and corporations has truly been amazing. The generosity of our alums and supporters is overwhelming and humbling. Thank you again for helping to make this project a reality. It's truly, truly amazing to be here today to be able to do this. So let's turn some dirt.
So although we've done the formal groundbreaking, the faculty, staff, and students wanted to have a bigger celebration for us. And we want you to share in that. We have 3 things we'd like to do today. First, with current building codes, the pendulum goes away. Dr. Mike Leidy made the suggestion that that pendulum become our time capsule. And so we have placed in our pendulum ball the required Chadron State College COVID-19 mask, and some other items. If you have suggestions or small, durable substances that can go in there, not liquids, please, we will find a place for this time capsule for the future. Now we have 2 more events that we would like to do, and I'm going to describe both of them, and then we will do them sequentially. First, for those of you who are standing back there, I encourage you to move over here. You know, we wanted fireworks, but we're what, 7 inches down in our average rainfall? And that's not feasible. So Dr. Mary Keithley had an alternative suggestion, and that is that we are going to be bursting balloons. So let me talk to you a little bit about the science and the mathematics behind fireworks and balloon bursts. These balloons that the students are holding are filled with hydrogen gas and small amounts of various salts. We're going to explode the hydrogen gas. When that happens, the electrons in the salts become excited. They gain energy. Now, they don't stay excited for very long. And as they go back to their original or ground state, they give off that extra energy that they absorbed. And that energy is given off as light. Different substances require different amounts of energy for the electrons to become excited. And so as the light comes off from there, they will be different wavelengths. Now we can use mathematics to calculate how much energy is in each of those wavelengths, but we perceive those different wavelengths, different energy levels of light, as color. We use fluorescence microscopy and fluorescence imaging in medical and in environmental research. And the black light mineral display in the Eleanor Barbara Cook Museum of Geology was a highlight of many visits. And of course, explosions are celebrations, right? So we're going to have the students celebrate here in just a minute. The other activity that we wanted to do is what I'm calling a floral champagne. Traditionally, voyages were blessed with an offering of wine, or in the mid-1700s, champagne. While the mathematics and sciences staff are offering a bon voyage to our building during its remodeling and additional construction, breaking a bottle of bubbly didn't seem quite appropriate. But we did want to break something, right? So here's what we decided. Liquid nitrogen is about 320 degrees Fahrenheit below zero, so about 380 degrees cooler than what we are right now. As we dip flowers into liquid nitrogen, the water inside of the plant cells will freeze quickly, turning these once living flowers into a floral ice sculpture. These floral ice sculptures will be wished to wish our building a temporary goodbye, good voyage, and until we can see you again. So the order of the celebration will be first, the students with their celebration. Secondly, the staff that live in this building with our floral christening. Well, thank you all for coming and joining us. We are so thankful that this is a reality. And we invite you all back in 18 to 20 months, maybe 20 by the time we move everything back in. Come join us in the new facility. Thank you. Goodbye.
Let me go over this.